Hey everyone, Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be looking into an album that hit its 25th anniversary, well, today. And as you clearly see below the title, today we're going to be looking into Images and Words by Dream Theater. Their second album released on July 7th, 1992 through Acto Records. Now, I don't think I even need to introduce Dream Theater. They're a progressive metal band hailing all the way from New York, been around since 1985. And Dream Theater for me, I mean, a lot of people don't know. I'm not really like the hugest fan of like progressive rock and metal, but this album and sort of like older Dream Theater is an exception I'll give, and also like Opeth and some older Between the Buried and Me. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Images and Words, Dream Theater's second album. Now, of course, like before this album, they have one other album that came out in 1989, their debut album called "A Dream in Day or Night," which didn't really get much attention. I mean, the lineup they had then was, of course, John Petrucci on guitar, John Mayung on bass, and Mike Portnoy on drums, and also Kevin Moore, the original keyboard player, and their singer. I think his name is Charlie Dominici. Yeah, I thought it was good, but then it was around a couple years where they took off. It wasn't until late 1991 where they got their singer James LaBrie, and he's ever since this album he's been the band ever since. And what to say about this album? This album is just amazing. Like I said, I'm not too big into like progressive metal or stuff, but this album is just wow. When I first heard this album, I was like, wow, this sounds perfect. And just like the production on this album is really great, and such the musicianship is spot on. Like, let's talk about like James LaBrie's vocals. I feel like this was him at his peak. Like his vocals just really shine, and he just puts so much that shows a lot of vocal range, going from like high notes and just go like softer melodies. And he just like puts so much emotion into his singing. It's just really executed perfectly. The guitar wise, John Petrucci, the guy can fucking shred. I mean, when I saw this guy, I'm like, damn. And just the tone is pretty good. The bass playing is pretty audible. I mean, John Mayung, in my honest opinion, I think he's like the Steve Harris of progressive metal. It's just his bass playing is really audible. You can definitely hear it well in the mix. Kevin Moore, the original keyboardist, like he gives like some of the songs on this album like the justice. Like nothing against like the other keyboard players that succeeded him, like Derek Stridian and Jordan Rudess, but there's just something about Kevin, especially on the first couple Dream Theater albums, that really just sets like the mood and the vibe with this album. And drumming wise, what can I say about Mike Portnoy? My all-time favorite drummer. He does a really great job handling the drums on this album, and it's just perfectly played well. But yeah, let's dive into this 8-track masterpiece. Now this opens up with "Pull Me Under," which is Dream Theater's most well-known song. This basically was played on like MTV back in the day. It's pretty much starts this off. Well, it's a progressive masterpiece. It pretty much shows the technical prowess of the band, and just the lyrics kind of like drag you under. It has a really great guitar solo in there. They're great song, a pretty good way to start off this album. Start off a little bit slow, but then it sort of builds up. It's really great. And then the album slows down with the song "Another Day," which is just a beautiful song. I mean, from like the melodic guitar playing and like the keyboards to like the emotional intro. And this is like kind of like less metal, but complete with like a baritone saxophone, and just James LaBrie is just showing his mighty vocal range. And this song I feel like is really great. And lyrically, I feel like the song talks about having another day, trying to like moving on trying to like embrace life and everything. Take the Time starts off with a very slow synth, and it has a really nice bass line in there. And when I first heard this song, I mean, James kind of sounds a little bit weird at first, but it just gets better throughout the song, and I actually like it. Surrounded, a sublime piano intro with James LaBrie's vocals. This song is almost in the same vein as like "Another Day," very melodic guitar playing, and just the middle of the song is just perfect. And then we go into one of the epics of this album, Metropolis Part 1, The Miracle and the Sleeper, which in my opinion I think is the best Dream Theater song, and just the most progressive song on here. It's just starts off with a very tambourine intro, and just the drums are perfect. And I really like the little middle interlude with like the like a John Petrucci and Kevin Moore just doing like the guitars and keyboards thing. It's just dual. It's just really good. Um, Under a Glass Moon opens up with a key and guitar duet, and lyrically, I think this is the best song on the album, and it has a really great, amazing solo. And Wait for Sleep, it's kind of like a calm interlude. It has just like a little piano nose with the vocals. I think it's sort of like the calm interlude before the epic finale, which is the last song on here, Learning to Live, which is simply just amazing way to end this album. It's a masterpiece. It's like 11 and a half minutes long. It just goes through a lot of different like time changes and all this shit, but overall it's a perfect way to end this album. Now, overall, Images and Words by Dream Theater is a pretty great album. If you want to get into like progressive metal, I would highly recommend you listen to this album from front to back. Like, you won't be disappointed. It's that perfect. And if I were to give this a score, and I would probably give this a solid 10 out of 10. It's really that great. Like musicianship is great. The lyrics are good. Just all in all, it's just amazing album. So yeah, that's my review of Images and Words, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about this album, and I'll see you all in the next video, and keep it metal.